And yeah, just to say before I start, I'm feeling very excited today. People who follow me on Instagram probably saw this, but I quit my job today. So I am no longer a side hustler. I am a hustler, I guess. Is that the right word? But basically, yeah, just doing full time into my business now, which is really fucking exciting. Yeah, I just wanted to celebrate that with myself and my water. Um, I will have a glass of wine to celebrate afterwards. But yeah, it just shows that. I mean, because yeah, this time last year was when I started my business. Thank you, Paula. So just shows that it can happen. It can definitely happen. I have, quit my job a year after I started this business. So yeah, if you put your mind to it, you can realize your dreams and all that jazz. So yeah, I've put some stuff in the group lately about how I did it and stuff. But if you've got any questions or want to ask me anything, just drop me a message. But anyway, it's not about me. This is about you guys. So thank you for the congrats. So overwhelm. So I've snappily titled this today: 3 ways you can tackle the bullshit overwhelm that's holding you back and start taking action, because it is bullshit. My view on overwhelm is just that is it's a part and parcel of running a business, but it's part and parcel of everyday life, particularly being a woman. I believe because we have so much going on that the men just don't have to do. We have to do everything. It's not just the business, it's the work, it's the kids, it's the dog, it's the everything. And we get frigging overwhelmed all the time. And they wonder why we get stressed. But the thing with overwhelm is it can really debilitate us. But I believe there's lots of ways to deal with it, which I'm going to talk about today. So I'm assuming since you are here, that you have felt overwhelmed at some point in the recent present, or you wouldn't be here. Which isn't surprising because it's like the one of the most common things that my clients talk to me about when they say that they want to start a business. They're like overwhelmed, they don't know where to start, they've got a fear of failure, which is making them feel overwhelmed, all of that stuff. So I guess it's just thinking about, first of all, how does it show up for you guys? Let me know in the comments below. But I mean, for me, it definitely shows up as feeling stressed, like frazzled, just like I sort of like always got a slight headache going on, kind of like that kind of real foggy feeling. I'm always saying things like, oh, there's just not enough hours in the day, to get everything done, those kinds of things. And, like this never ending bottomless to-do list that never goes anywhere. Um, and really that feeling of like, you've got so much to do, but you just don't know where to start. Like it just feels like this huge mountain in front of you. Not necessarily for me, but I know with my clients, they say that they deprioritize themselves a lot. Things like skipping meals, eating badly, that kind of stuff. Some even, and this has happened to me in the past, struggling to sleep, which isn't great. That then lowers your ability to think rationally, and then that makes overwhelm even harder to cope with. So it's just like this horrible, vicious cycle. Um, and sometimes, one of my clients sort of says, she finds herself like even avoiding conversation with her partner or lashing out and stuff. So it can really, really impact us quite badly. Um, if any of those resonate with you, I mean, they definitely resonate with me. I've definitely suffered with it at certain points in my life really badly. And I think I suffer with overwhelm probably once a week. I look at everything I need to do and think, oh my God, how am I going to do it? But the main big thing that happened to me was getting signed off with stress and anxiety a couple of years ago. I was off work for 5 months, so it can really, really, really debilitate us. But fortunately, I have found a number of ways to deal with it, 3 of which I'm going to talk to you about today. So, the first one is literally just getting it all out of your head and prioritizing the right things. Now, it sounds really obvious because it kind of is actually, but I'm a real overthinker. I don't know if any of you guys are, but I really, really think about stuff. And once I get something in my head, I can't get it out, and it's to the point where it keeps me awake at night. Um, so the way I cope with that is just to literally do a massive brain dump onto a piece of paper, like you can see that there, or onto a, I don't know if you can see it on the wall, but those mind mappy type things on the wall. Anything or any way that you can do to get it out of your head, whatever it is, whether it's a to-do list or literally a mind map or one of those spider map diagram type things, with kind of like no filter. So it could be I've got to do this thing for work. I need to do the washing. I've got to I have a, oh my god, what are the things? I have a WhatsApp that person back. The amount of WhatsApps I type out and then I don't reply to them. Sorry for the late reply. Stuff like that. Even the tiniest things, but anything that's just like getting the back of your head. You're like, fuck, I haven't done that. Shit, I haven't done that. So get it all out onto paper, and doesn't matter whether it's work, life admin, personal, whatever. Then divide it. Once you've got it all out, then divide it into those categories: work, personal, life admin, and then automatically I find that I suddenly go, okay, right, fine, it's out of my head, and your shoulders start to like come down from like where they were above by your ears. Um, then what I often find is that list looks really bloody overwhelming, and I start to get like worried again. But then what I start to do is go, okay, well, I know that all of these things are probably slightly important, but I now need to prioritize them. So what I tend to do is start to sort of like, once I've grouped them into those sort of sections, whether it's like work, personal life, admin, like paying bills, stuff like that. I then go into those categories and go, right, well, what are the most important things? There's lots of different ways to prioritize whether things are important or not. But what I tend to do is go, right, okay, well, what are the big goals that I'm working towards this month or this year or something? And do those things on that to do list ladder up to those? And if not, they're probably not that important. Now, that is a big sweeping generalization. There will always be things on there that don't ladder up to that, but just go with me for a second. So, an example business goal, for example, might be I need to set up my website, or I need to bring in X thousands of pounds revenue this month. Or a personal goal might be I need to move house or something like that. Um, the way to think about this list then is to go, well, does the thing on this list ladder up to that thing? If it doesn't, then I'll deprioritize it, right? That doesn't include things like I need to go food shopping, because obviously you're not going to make your family starve, and that doesn't, your goal for the life isn't to keep your family, to feed your family, although it probably is in the greater good. But so it's not as black and white as what I'm saying, but generally ladder it up to what you're trying to achieve for that month. And then the thing that is the real key, and the thing I do really struggle with still, and there is some science behind it, but I don't know the science because I'm not a scientist, but it's basically picking just 3 things to work on that day from that list. And because as tempting as it can be to look at the list and go, I'm going to do that, you'll never get more than 3 things done generally. And then if you don't get more than 3 things done out of those 10, you get really pissed off with yourself, and then you get demotivated. So pick 3, and then if you get more than 3 done, then you're like, okay, like I'm smashing life. So to pick those 3 things and work on them that day. The other thing I would say as well, there's a coaching book, if you've ever read it, called Eat That Frog. And the idea around eating that frog is picking the thing that you least want to do and doing it first. So, for me, it was like my tax return that I'd been putting off and putting off and putting off. And then that one day I decided to do it. I did it first and literally was in the best mood for the rest of the day. So always try and eat that frog, pick the crap thing first. Um, the other thing I would say is get quite harsh with yourself. It's not about doing lots and lots and lots of things. It's about doing the right things. So really get quite clear on where you're kind of veering off and getting distracted, and picking the nice things to do. I'm just going to like clean up that cupboard instead of doing my tax return. Be like, no, come on, do the frigging tax return. That's how much I hate tax returns, that I'd rather clean out a cupboard. There you go. The other thing, and this is literally my problem, is stop getting distracted by this thing. One of the biggest game changers for me was turning off every single notification on my phone. Every single one. Email, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, all of it. And it is such a game changer. It doesn't stop me going in and just having a check, but it does stop me constantly picking it up and going, oh, so and so's messaged me. So that would be a big thing for me, is turning those notifications off. Another thing that I'm really bad at, stop multitasking. Just pick one thing and work on it at a time. And a really good app for that is an app called Flora, and it's based on the Pomodoro technique, which is basically there's some science behind the fact that you can only work for 25 minutes at a time completely focused, and then you have to have a 5-minute break. And what the Pomodoro apps and this Flora app does is it gives you 25 minutes of like a timer, and then it rings the bell or whatever it does, and then you have to go and have a break for 5 minutes. The reason I love the Flora app so much is because basically throughout that 25 minutes it grows a tree, and if you touch your phone in the 25 minutes, the tree dies. So for somebody like me, I don't want to kill a tree. It's like, they might as well have an app that says like killing puppies or something like that. And I get really upset if I kill a tree. So, and it literally does go, Lauren killed a tree. So, it's pretty good for that. And I use it quite a lot. The other thing to stop getting distracted about, and this is what I do all the time, is getting distracted by like ideas. So I'm like that dog in that film where it's like squirrel, squirrel, you know, have somewhere like a notebook or somewhere on the wall where you just write when an idea comes to you, just write it down, get it out of your head, because otherwise you'll sit there and you'll be like, oh, if I don't think about this now and research this now, then it's going to go out of my head, and then I get stuck into Google for like half an hour, and then I've lost what I'm doing, and then I'm even more overwhelmed than I was before. So just have like an ideas bank or book somewhere where you can write it down, not forget about it, and then but you can come back to what you were doing. So those are my kind of tips around, you know, getting it all out of your head and making sure that you're focusing on the right things. The second thing, and this is what I do a lot with my clients, is breaking it down. So one of the biggest causes of overwhelm is when we see this like insurmountable task in front of us, and we're like, oh my god, how the hell am I ever going to do this? Oh my god, So it could be like start a business or build a website, and you're like, where do I even start with that, right? So, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure if you kind of look at this big, huge goal in its entirety. So the key is breaking it down. So if you take start a business as the goal, right? The common feeling that everyone goes with is like, I don't know where to start, and then they don't bother starting, which is the really sad thing. But my thinking here is if you break it down and then just start with the most obvious thing and just take that one little step forward, then you're golden, right? So something might look so basically what it might look like is doing what I've just said in number one. So taking that whole process of getting it all out on paper, but for this one thing. So for example, I need to build my website. You might do a brain dump on a piece of paper, like a mind map or a list of all the things I need to do about building a website, right? So that might be like, writing my copy. That might be buying a domain name. That might be putting my contact details on there, all those kinds of things. And they don't need to be in order. They just need to be like all of the things when your brain's going, you need to do this, you need to do this, just get it out. And then look at that list objectively and go, right, okay, well, what do I think needs to happen first? Oh, hang on. And you'll start to go, well, actually, I can't do that until I've done that. Oh, no, hang on. No, that needs to go first. And then you'll automatically just start to get a little bit of a timeline. And essentially, then what you should do is go, right, okay, what's the first thing? What's the next best thing that I need to do? So, and that might be buy the domain name. And then that's when you can start to go, okay, right, well, I can do that today. That's just like an easy thing to tick off. If it's a slightly bigger thing, okay, that's going to take me 3 days. So it's really just taking this huge task and breaking it down until you've got something that's quite simple and easy to work on that particular day. Another thing as well, which I haven't written down, but I thought is quite, I'm a big list checker offer, and I know Laura, you've said to me before, you like to highlight things when you've done them to get a little bit of a buzz. So that's quite a good thing. I have it on my to-do list on my wall, and I cross off things as I go just to kind of like keep you motivated. Um, so yeah, that's my main thing around that. Break it down. The third thing that I really find, useful is, well, I'll take that back. The thing that I find a lot of clients come to me with is they say they don't have time for something, and that makes them feel overwhelmed. They're like, oh my God, I've got to do all this stuff, but where the hell am I going to find the time? And my argument is, and this is even coming from, I now have a child, so I know that time is like gold dust, but there is always time to be found. And I guess my thing is there's 24 hours in the day. Even if you can only find 15 minutes to work on the thing that you want to work on, you can find it. And if you can't find it, your priorities are wrong. And I would say, like, look at how much TV you're watching. Like, I sat and watched Love Island for an hour earlier, and I know I've been scrolling through my phone too much. I can't even look at how much my screen time is. So I guess it's just working out, like, what are my priorities and where am I wasting time and where can I put that into my business or my work. So, or else how can you get up a bit earlier? Can you create more time that you would have used in your old commute if you're working from home? Could you use your lunch breaks when you're working from home? You know, there's always little pockets of time, and like I say, it could be 15 minutes a day, and if you do that, you've you know found over an hour a week. The other thing I would say is just watch your language around it. Um, Again, there's some scientific stuff. The more we tell ourselves something, the more we start to believe it, right? So if we're constantly going around going, I haven't got time, I haven't got time, or there's not enough hours in the day, or I'm just so busy, your mind goes, okay, yeah, I believe you, cool. And then you just start, it's like a self fulfilling prophecy. So it's about, it's not about saying, oh my God, I've got so much time in the world, but it's about sort of just changing the language and going, okay, well, I'm going to find the time, I'm going to create some time, and then you will. It's just a really simple, quite easy thing to change. And also, just you'll start to notice like how many times a day do I say I'm so busy, there's no time. I do it all the time as well. Um, the other thing that's really been a game changer for me, it was getting up earlier and getting a morning routine. You know, just getting up that little bit earlier. I know it's really hard when you have kids. I'm only just getting to the point now where Edie's starting to sleep through the night, and I can get up a little bit before her because I'm not getting up with her in the night. So, but even like I said, even 20 minutes earlier, so you can do like some yoga or something like that to really set yourself up for the day. It can really help with that constant feeling of overwhelm that we tend to carry with us throughout the day. Um, and then the final thing, and I think I talked about this in the previous live, was about planning your time wisely. And the main thing, and I haven't got it with me. Well, I have got it with me. Is get a planner, and you might have seen it on my Instagram. I use the best self planner, and I sit on a Sunday, and I plan my week. I look at what I've got in my calendar for work and personal, and I look at all the stuff that I've got to do on my to-do list, and I just start planning it out. And some people do have the opinion that why would you ruin Sunday with thinking about the week ahead, which I do get. But also, you just go into Monday feeling so much calmer. Like that Sunday night fear is eradicated because you're like, okay, well, I know what's coming this week. There's going to be no surprises, and I'm game on. I'm prepared for it. So that would be my tip: is get a planner, plan it on a Sunday if you can, with a glass of wine if it's going to make you feel better, and then you just go into that week feeling double prepared. So those are my three tips. I put in a final bonus point just as I before I came on air. That sounds cool. Um, is about just remembering self care. You know, it's so important. You know, I talked earlier about me having my breakdown a couple of years ago, and it's because I wasn't prioritizing myself. I was just prioritizing work, and I got completely consumed with it. Um, and especially if you're like a busy bee person like me, like I must get stuff done, must do, tick off the to do list. It's basically, a oh, hi, Paula. What planner do you use? I use the Best Self planner. The reason I'm sort of going like that is because the other day I checked and they were sold out. But I'll pop it in the comments underneath after this is finished. Um, but yeah, the fact that I'm this busy, do, tick off type person, I tend to really not prioritize self care at all. So I have taken to scheduling it in, which kind of sort of you could say defies the point of self care because it's very regimented, but that's what works for me. So I actually put into the diary, you know, an hour of yoga or an hour of HIIT class or something to make sure that I do it. And some people do it in their actual online calendar. Like my client used to do it, and she used to call it pink time. So she would schedule in pink time, and pink time could have been going for a walk at lunch. It can be whatever you want. Doesn't it could be having a bath in the middle of the day. Hey, whatever floats your boat. Sorry about my dog. So yeah, basically it's around just making sure that that you're not so overwhelmed with getting stuff done that you're kind of deprioritizing yourself. Um, and I guess to summarize, it's to me it's all about mindset really and how you approach overwhelm because overwhelm ain't going anywhere, right? We're always going to be overwhelmed. Probably going to be like once a week or twice a week that we suddenly go with all the crap that we've got going on. But the things over the last couple of years where I've really changed my mindset or changing because I'm still a work in progress, right? We all are. Is stop being a perfectionist. I'm a recovering perfectionist. That's what I tell myself. But I try and have this mantra that done is better than perfect. Progress over perfection and all that stuff. Um, Stop being an overachiever. That's another one for me. I don't know if this resonates with anybody. Be more realistic with my available time. You know, the amount of times I'd go, oh, I can get all this stuff done today, and then I got three things, and I'd be like, oh, you're so crap. You know, just be realistic. Things always take longer than you think they will. Just go easy on yourself. Another thing as well, and I see this in my clients all the time, when I say, how's your week been? They focus on what they haven't done and what they haven't got achieved rather than what they have. So, a nice little trick is towards the end of the week, I'll always send them an email saying, what great things have happened this week? You know, or you could do it daily, you know, like what great things, what did I achieve today? And it really just changes that mindset of like, wow, I'm really getting things done. You could go back to your to-do list, look at all the stuff you've crossed off this week and be like, God, I'm like bossing life. This is amazing. Um, and then I feel like the last point, it may not be the most motivational to end on, but I think it's just an acceptance that overwhelm is going to be a massive part of our life. Accept that we'll never ever get through everything on our to-do list. It will always, always, always be added to and added to and added to. And what's really helped me is instead of thinking negatively about this massive to-do list and how crap it is, to try and change your mindset to one of having a massive list of exciting things to do to grow your business or to improve your job or whatever. You know, so really sort of not looking at it as this thing that's dragging you down, but this thing that you're excited to get through. I know it's a stretch, but it's, you know, it's something to think about to try and change the way you look at it. But limit yourself to 3 things a day. Don't try and do any more than that. So I hope that was helpful. Oh, Paula's asked something. When you're overwhelmed, first you try overwork, and then you're overwhelmed and exhausted. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle. You know, we get overwhelmed, and then we think I must get all of this stuff done to stop feeling overwhelmed, and then you try and get all this stuff done, and lo and behold, you're overwhelmed again, and then you're exhausted. So that self-care thing is really, really important. I used to feel like it was a bit of not a waste of time, but it was time that I could have been using to do the stuff on my list, and it doesn't work. Like, you know, that's when burnout happens. And so, like, you know, sometimes, you know, my husband has to say to me, go and have a bath, stop working. And I'm like, okay, sure, you know, because it doesn't come naturally to me to just, you know, focus on me. So yeah, whatever you can do, whether it's scheduling it in or getting someone in your house to tell you to do it, you know, just make sure that you focus on that self-care as well, otherwise you'll just run yourself into the ground. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. Obviously, this is all the sort of stuff that I teach in my program that I launched last week called the Freedom Business Formula, which basically teaches you not just the strategy that I use to quit my job, but all this kind of mindset stuff behind the scenes as well. And at the moment, I'm running a 30% off deal on it. And it's basically 6 months working with me one to one. And the idea is that there's sort of three parts to it. First of all, it gets your side hustle up and running quickly using the bare essentials. You know, people think you need a real flashy website and a sexy logo and all that stuff to get going, and you really don't. You just need the bare essentials, and the program sort of teaches you what those are and how to get up and running quickly. Then it teaches you how to get money coming in, how to get clients, how to get income quickly, and how to grow it. And then the final part is taking all of that into account, working out a date when you think that you can leave, and getting you a plan in place to do that. So you would basically leave the program within 6 months, being like a fully fledged side hustler, but on your way to becoming a full-time business owner like me. That sounds really good. But yeah, so it just shows you exactly how I turned my little scrappy side hustle into a 5-figure business. And it basically sort of helps you not to make the mistakes that I did, and sort of just streamline my process. So it'll be a lot easier for you with my help. So yeah, if you've got any interest in that, let me know. As I say, it's we've got 30% off until the 11th of July, and then the price will go back up. So yeah, let me know. But I hope that was helpful for you guys. I am psyched that I've finished in under half an hour again. I'm getting better at this. Has anyone got any questions before we go back to our evenings, or comments, or musings, or thoughts? Just get into it. No, no questions or comments. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll post the link to this planner for you, Paula, and anyone else in the links below. Oh, you're welcome, Kat. No worries. Yeah, thank you for joining. And yeah, if you want to know anything more, let me know. Have a good evening. See you later. Bye.